Thanks very much. Thanks for having me. It's really great to meet you all, and I'm really looking forward to all the chats. I'm just going to share my screen. Here we go. So I was going to talk about the Lucha, or the fight back, and I was just going to talk about how we made it. It's just been finished, and it ended up very differently to how it started. And I think talking about that journey really helps to illustrate uh, co-creation, which obviously is open-ended, and the end often isn't set at the beginning. So it all began in November 2019, 2 years ago, and I'd written a bit of a play, and I wanted to make a play for an audience with headphones, and it was going to be set in a telesales office, and it was going to be this mix of verbatim and biographical sort of mashup. Uh, and I used to sell garage doors very briefly for a living. So I thought it'd be good to make a show that I knew something about. 2 years later, I ended up with a 23-minute film co-created with 9 cleaners from Latin America that explored their experiences of migration. And I've never been to Latin America, and I don't speak Spanish. So it's been quite a journey. And it was whilst I was researching telesales operatives and precarious work that I was introduced to the ferocious trade union, the IWGB, who are the self-styled baddest union in town. And they represent a wide range of migrant workers who are trapped in low paid, 0 hours, precarious contracts. And yet they've won case after case against the government and exploitative employers. So I had conversations with their president, Henry Chango Lopez, and the inspirational Maritza Castillo Calle. I went demonstrating outside 5 Hertford Street, which is a private members club. But it was really at a fundraiser for the IWGB that I met a caseworker called Jordi Lopez, and that's when the project really got moving. And he was already thinking about ways of documenting and presenting stories from the women that he represented. And so we started working together, and it was just incredibly lucky that I met him. And we brought together a group of 9 cleaners who Jordi already knew, all women from Latin America, and we began working as a group to make a play. Then, of course, so our second rehearsal was in March 2020, and we learned that 2 of our 9 co-creators were leaving the country due to an assault that had taken place at their work that hadn't been dealt with. And the supervisor actually returned to work on the day that the club celebrated International Women's Day. So they were obviously out of there. Shortly later, the country went into lockdown. Geordie was working night and day to defend the cleaners, and they were still working late into lockdown without sick pay or employment rights to fall back on. Despite all of this, the women were determined to continue. So they created video diaries, we had Zoom workshops, they wrote and recorded poems and songs, they performed dances to camera, and they each painted their own cartonera. And we found out that this actually gave our co-creators more autonomy and creative agency than we had through interacting with them in a live workshop scenarios. There were definitely benefits of that as well. Alongside this, they also devised scenes that would make up the story of the migrant, which was a narrative that would form the backbone of the play. And of course, as the pandemic dragged on, we realized the live outcome was becoming impossible, but we had loads of footage that we could try and stitch together into a film. So our key ingredients were having a co-creator who could liaise between the groups, embracing remote creation, and finally finding a group of co-creators who were courageous, kind-hearted, and optimistic, as well as creative, funny, and effortlessly poetic. They've made huge sacrifices for their families. They struggled through exploitation, and they've rallied against a system that repeatedly fails them. Nonetheless, they continue to contribute to our society and to stand up to injustice. And the stories show they're not just victims, they're fighters for the rights of every worker. And to finish off, to illustrate the project, I made a trailer specifically for this, but I'm going to use it more widely as well. So I'm just going to play that for you now.
pues vamos a ser nosotros las que vamos a armar eso, de nuestras vivencias en este país, donde hemos sido, pues, como ya dijimos anteriormente, hemos pasado por muchas vicisitudes y ahora pues queremos que la gente se entere.
Estas son las luchadoras.
A la creación, si es la vida de un cleaner o si es la vida de varios cleaners.
Pues sí, contarla de cada uno también, pero no sé si eso se pone muy largo, si se puede hacer.
Mujer bonita es la que lucha.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Brilliant, thank you. I can remove your spotlight.